Today on What's That Thailand, we answer the question, is driving in Thailand insane? Cue the music.
Welcome to Phuket on a beautiful sunny morning. We are
Tom Hill.
on Patong Hill, which is an adventure in driving always.
Chinese temple.
Yeah, so when you drive past the Chinese temple here on the hill, on Patong Hill, everybody honks their horn. Just sort of a good luck thing when you go past the Chinese temple, everybody honks their horn. So we're driving on the left-hand side of the road, and the driver is on the right-hand side of the car, which is the same style as that of the UK, but different from what we're used to at home in North America. I always find that confusing. They call it driving on the left-hand side of the road, but the driver is in the vehicle on the right-hand side, so that always kind of confuses me.
You think that's confusing? You should try driving.
Sometimes I've noticed when you are signaling your intention, the windshield wipers go on.
That's true. That's how they know that I'm going to cut them off. Yeah, because the light indicator and the windshield wiper on/off thing are also switched backwards. On the configuration of the steering wheel.
In Thailand.
And the other thing that I will sometimes catch myself doing is walking over to the passenger door and trying to get in to drive the car there.
I also have many times walked over to the driver's side door in order to be a passenger.
Which usually prompts me to throw her the keys and say, "Are you
Yes.
driving?"
Very clever. It's
Yeah.
very clever.
It's kind of a fun game to catch each other doing. The first sort of experience I've had with driving in Thailand was sitting in the front seat of a silver van, as a passenger, and it got to the point where I was like, I gotta stop watching because we're going to get into an accident and I don't want to see it coming. But that was just my Canadian sensibility. Yeah, there's this sort of method to the madness with Thai traffic, and a lot of it is like an understanding of that if you're behind me and I can't see you, I can cut you off, but if you're ahead of me and I can reasonably assume that you can't see me, you can cut me off. The use of signal lights are very good.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
That's good.
Signaling your intention is very, very useful. Traffic in Thailand is crazy. When I first started driving, I thought Thai drivers were insane. But I've come to find out that there is quite a bit of method to their madness, and that it's a very different way of approaching heavy traffic. Everybody sort of moves in a rhythm.
I remember you describing it to me one time as an aquarium. It was like watching an aquarium.
Yeah, all the scooters move in like mopods. I guess that would be like, I guess it's a plural of a bunch of small motorcycles.
Moped.
A moped.
Coin it. We coined it first.
Hashtag moped.
Hashtag moped. I like it.
Yeah, and so they're smaller. They move in and out, weave in and out of traffic, and come at you from the wrong direction on a one-way street. it's pretty insane sometimes.
True. I found that even as a pedestrian, you know, when you go to cross the street, and nobody's going to stop for you. But once you make that move, you have to commit and you have to get to the other side, because if you hesitate, that's when somebody is like, that confuses the Thai drivers.
You know, like people, for the most part, are observing what other people in front of them are doing. So if somebody's going to come out and they look like they have ample time to cut you off, or you're moving at a speed that allows them to do that, then
That's what they'll do.
That's what'll happen. And you know, at my job in Canada, in order to be insured under the vehicles that I was working with, I had to take defensive driving course and so on and so forth. You can pretty much throw all that away. You drive like in a lot of instances, you drive like that here. You're just going to cause, at best, traffic nightmare. At worst,
Somebody could really get hurt.
Because that's just not how people drive.
Yeah, it's not the rhythm of the driving here.
Yeah. And I don't, and that's not to say that, oh well, it's dangerous or anything like that. It's just there's a little bit more like use your head, common sense kind of approach to this. That, you know, you get used to. I found you get used to driving in Canada where, you know, everybody's looking out for you. Well, you know, we have all these rules and all that kind of stuff.
We like rules.
Yeah, we do like the rules. But here,
Not so much rules.
not so much about the rules.
So, Clay, if you were a tourist and you were coming to Phuket or Thailand in general for a 3-week stay or a month stay, would you recommend that they rent a scooter or a vehicle for their stay?
Well, it all kind of depends. I mean, you know, if you're coming for a week or whatever, and you're staying around in a small beach town like Patong or Gamla or somewhere, renting a scooter for a couple $100 baht a day isn't such a big deal. I wouldn't recommend renting a scooter and touring the entire island. That means going on like the 4 and 6 lane highways.
Or Bangkok, for that matter. You really wouldn't want to be in Bangkok, I don't think. You know, you can get around in public transit very easily. Or
I mean, if you're somebody who, you know, has a lot of experience on 2-wheel vehicles, and you know, that's fine. But nobody's going to check your experience when they rent you a scooter. They're just going to rent it to you, and a lot of times people, they get themselves out there, and you know, I've seen a lot of foreigners in traffic accidents with scooters, and you know, so I mean, just be careful and be smart about what it is that you want to do, because there are a lot of different ways to get around on the island. I mean, you can rent a car, but that can be very expensive if you're only here for a few days or a week or whatever. You might better off be thinking about renting a van and a driver if you want to go somewhere, you know, on a long TO.
We've done that. We've done that before.
Yeah.
We've really enjoyed it.
We've rented the van and the driver to take us from Bangkok all the way to Chiang Mai.
Chiang Mai all the way back down to Phuket.
Yeah, it's very affordable, especially if you're splitting it between a number of people. If you've got 7 or 8 people that you're traveling with. The other modes of transportation to get around, I mean, you can use an Uber, or there's another company.
Here in Southeast Asia, yes. I can't think of it right now, but I will put a link in the description below.
Then there's always a tuk-tuk or a songpao.
Yeah.
They're always an adventure.
They're open-air vehicles, so you have to be prepared for being in an open-air vehicle.
Some of them are. party wagons.
Yeah.
Lots of-
Sometimes they have lots of lights and music.
Yeah.
A lot of boots and cats.
Yeah. Price of gasoline is unfortunately pretty much the same here as everywhere else. But on the upshot, it isn't more expensive than anywhere else. The Thai government understands the importance of diesel and gasoline and keeping their economy running, and they've subsidized at least to a certain portion.
For an example, we filled up the truck with diesel. All of the trucks here run on diesel fuel, and we filled it up for 1,700 baht 2 weeks ago. We did not do we didn't do any traveling, but we did go back and forth to groceries, the normal sort of everyday stuff. And just today, we were at a half tank.
Yeah, so there's lots of ways to get around. You don't necessarily have to rent a vehicle, but if you do and you decide to do that, there are licensing processes that you need to do ahead of time.
That's correct. You need to have an international driver's license. That's really important. They will pull you over if you are a felon, especially if you're on a moped and you need to be wearing your helmet. Your passenger needs to be wearing a helmet, and you need to have an international driver's license, which is a pretty straightforward procedure in most countries. What you need to do is go to your local automobile association and bring a passport photo, or sometimes they actually have photo booths on premises, so you can take the photo there. Pay whatever fee is applicable. I think we paid somewhere around $35 Canadian. And they will print you out this lovely little booklet that is your international driver's license.
Now you'll have to keep your driver's license from your country.
That's correct.
It's issued by your country with you to accompany that if you got pulled over. But
they won't issue you the license, the international driver's license, unless you have a valid driver's license from the country in which you reside.
And if you get pulled over by the police, you have to present both. You can't just give them one or the other.
Correct. It's also a good idea to keep a copy of your passport on your phone, as well as maybe a manual photocopy in your glove compartment. I wouldn't recommend traveling with your passport. I would leave it in a safe in the hotel.
Yeah.
You don't need to have it, but to have
especially
a photocopy.
if you have a copy of it on your phone.
Correct. Yes.
You want to make sure that you don't misplace something like that.
No, that would be an awful thing to be leaving at the beach.
Oh, there's that gas station that Suri tried to take us to, and we ended up in somebody's yard. Anyway, side note.
Siri.
Yeah.
Always an adventure in Thailand.